What's going on, family? Out here back on the grind. So, heard that Stranger Things fumbled the finale, which is sad, because Stranger Things had a good run. It was a really good show, and it had two really distinct fans. Group number one was the people from my generation, born in the 80s, loved the nostalgia, and dug the fact that the show took you on a bit of a time machine while also giving you a very good premise and plot to build off of. Fan group number two, super duper nerds, resonated with the fact that all these super nerdy, goofy reject kids was literally like saving the world secretly. Perfect way to tackle two polarized groups and milk that for viewership, and it worked. If I remember that when it first came out, people loved it so much it was slotted for 4 seasons. So when I heard there was a 5th, I was actually surprised, because it was only slotted, their original contract was for 4 seasons total. So now I hear that they decided, which I mean they are on Netflix, so it's not a huge shock, but they decided to go woke for the finale. Now here's why this is a giant fumble, because as I said, you got two distinct fan bases. One, super nerd, introvert kids. None of them are about to have a coming out party. None of them. I know this because in multiple industries that I work in, I deal with them all the time. Super introverts ain't having massive coming out parties. Doesn't happen. So you failed them. And then you got the 80s people, like myself. I was born in 81. So we all remember that they nailed it with the clothes. They nailed it with the music. They nailed it with the decor. They even nailed it with the resolution to make it look like you was watching it on an old TV show. And one of the things from the people from the 80s will tell you is people wasn't having coming out parties back then either, because it wasn't trendy like that. You either were or you weren't. You either talked about it or you didn't. Again, I know this for a fact because aside from dance, I DJ and I'm around people from those communities, and I have been my entire life. I have family that wrote books in that space. I have family that have podcasts in that space. Like, I'm very well versed in that community, despite what a lot of people think. And nobody was having coming out parties back in the 80s. Nope. And even if you try to say, well, it started in the 80s and then it progressed, I'm again been around, wasn't happening in the 90s either. This is a new thing. So you try to project new standards from new society onto a show that's supposed to be from several decades ago. Dumb on top of dumb. And this is why I find it hilarious that companies would rather go woke even if it means going broke. Like, this was so stupid. It was so stupid. The amount of people who you please or appease in doing this, far the amount of people you please in doing this, in this pandering mission, pales in comparison to the amount of people you disappoint by a gigantic margin. And the reason you can know this is because the same people who you are trying to appease in doing stuff like this are the same ones who swore up and down that they were going to hold all this weight when it came to our last election. And you saw how that went. So it was like, I think it sucks. I couldn't even tell you exactly what happened in the finale, other than I know that there was some coming out ceremony for one of the characters. I tapped out after season 2 or 3 because it just didn't have as much of a draw, and it was other stuff that I was watching that was better. But, yep, Stranger Things fumbled the finale, and they did it all so they could just say that they were woke and they are down